You're on.
Okay, I'm on the off speaker and I'm on my speaker. Can you hear me all right?
We can hear you fine.
Yes.
Okay, Art, would you conduct the meeting? Because it's going to be really problematic for me to do it.
You got it. All right, with that being said, let's call the meeting to order. First order of business, quorum, we have a quorum. Guest and public comments. Who would like to say something? Go ahead.
Hi, Logan.
Hi.
My name is Ray Vallejo. We've been at our farm for about 40 years now.
Okay,
Been trying to get water for a while.
okay,
And one of the things is the Dolan drain that you guys will be discussing later. Just
Okay.
looking to see if that'd be an opportunity for us, because right now to get water to the residents in that area, we're having to go through everybody's property. And that's been a hindrance for all of us, because we usually farmland that we have. So it's quite a distance that we have to put in pipe and stuff like that. We've come up with some options, but one of the best options is gonna be that drain, using the Dolan drain to be able to run not only water, but other utilities as well.
okay.
Out there, we really don't have any utilities or anything. We have electricity and LP gas and stuff like that, but we'd really like to be able to get.
All right, I think it's on our agenda.
Yes, sir, it's 70.
Yes, it's 70, and we'll be discussing that in the closed.
Yeah, okay, I sure see that. Okay,
Thank you, sir.
all right, thank you. Anybody else? All right, hearing none. All right, let's go to the minutes of last month. Anybody have any corrections or see anything they want to change? Or that needs changing? Anybody? All right, hearing none, the chair will entertain a motion to accept the minutes as mailed in the packet.
I move to accept the minutes.
All right, George makes the motion, Larry seconds, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All right, next thing here, we got Lisa, and I see no?
No.
Oh, shoot, okay. Mary? Where are you? There you are.
Good morning, Mr. Ivy.
Good morning, Mary.
We have Mike and Edward from Big Center Company. I would like to have them present first
Okay,
prior to going through the rest of the report.
you got it. All right, Mike, you're up.
Just move the speaker so Johnny can hear you. Johnny, I want to place you next to Mike's going to give the report on the audit.
He's having a party over there.
Okay.
That's our whole.
That's our whole,
Morning, everyone.
good morning.
My name is Michael Donnell. I'm a CPA with Bixler and Company here in El Paso. Everyone should have in front of them a copy of the El Paso County Water Improvement District Number 1 financial statements for October 31st, 2020. And I know you've got a lot planned, so I'll try and get through these. Everybody has seen these at least once before, so I'll try not to take up too much of your time, but I do want to point out a few things. If you'll turn to the second page, the table of contents, I'll break down the packet a little bit for you. The first thing you'll find is the independent auditor's report. After that, that's followed by the required supplementary information as presented by you guys, presented by management. After that are the basic financial statements, the 3 audited financial statements. After that is a note to the financial statements, and then everybody's favorite, the independent auditor's report on internal control, which everybody seems to want to jump to, like Mr. Ivy's doing right now. That's kind of the meat of the matter, I guess. But before we get to that, a couple of things. If you'll flip to page 1, we have the independent auditor's report. The first paragraph reads, "We have audited the accompanying financial statements of the El Paso County Water Improvement District Number 1, a political subdivision of the state of Texas, as of and for the year ended October 31st, 2020, and the related notes to the financial statements, which collectively comprise the district's basic financial statements as listed in the table of contents." The next paragraph, management's responsibility for the financial statements. Management is responsible for the preparation and fair presentation of these financial statements in accordance with accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America. Management's responsible for the financial statements, the 3 audited financial statements you have in front of you. Our responsibility is to audit those financial statements. And you'll see that in the next paragraph, auditor's responsibility. Our responsibility is to express opinions on these financial statements based on our audit. The next page, page 2, you'll see our opinion. Underneath the heading opinions, in our opinion, the financial statements referred to above present fairly, in all material respects, the respective financial position of the district as of October 31st, 2020, and the respective changes in financial position for the year then ended in accordance with accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America. On page 3, pages 3 through 6, you'll find management's discussion and analysis. This is where management is providing additional information to the reader so they can better understand the operations and the financial statements. You'll see there about the middle of the page, there's an overview of the 3 financial statements. The basic financial statements, a statement of net position, the statement of revenues, expenses, and change in net position, and the statement of cash flow. That's followed by some financial highlights. Page 4 has management's presentation of financial analysis. You'll see the net position there. The total net position under the 2020 column, $28,838,849. You'll see that on the 3 basic financial statements numerous times. Page 4 gives a deep comparative detail of the changes in net position. And page 6 gives some more detailed explanation, capital assets, economic factors, and request for information. Pages 7 through 10 are the basic audited financial statements. These are the 3 financial statements that we audit. The first one is the statement of net position. Asset presents assets, deferred outflows of resources. It is continued on page 8. Presents liabilities. The net of all that being what they call net position. Your total net position is that $28 million that we just mentioned. This is more
With the
akin.
caveats that you got expressed.
Excuse me?
With the caveats, the usual caveats, we don't know what the property was acquired for.
Right.
The United States did that, we know about what it was, so we've stated in there that if we had an appraised value, and you got to know, we evolved this several years ago. Mike.
Right,
It would be hundreds of millions of dollars in assets,
Right.
but we haven't tried to get appraisals, you know, to determine the realistic market value.
correct. Following that, on page 9, you'll find the statement of revenues, expenses, and change in net position. It begins with the operating net revenues less operating expenses. We end up with the change in net position for the year and the net position at the end of the year, again, that 28 million that we referred to earlier. Page 10 is a statement of cash flows. This statement reconciles the beginning and ending cash and cash equivalents for the year. It's basically the ins and outs of the cash, and there at the middle of the page, you'll see balance, end of year, the 1,225,885. If you'll flip over to page 7, you'll find that same number under cash. Pages 11 through 22 are the notes to the financial statements.
I have a comment on page 14. Note 4, in the last sentence, it says the district consists of 69,010 acres of irrigable acres of land. That's not quite right. The district contains 69,010 irrigable acres that are classified as irrigable, but the total legal acreage is about 77,000 gross acres.
Okay.
So I think that one statement, you might consider changing that to read, the district contains 69,010 acres of land and contains approximately 77,000 gross acres of land. And see, that's part of our land, it's deeded acreage in effect.
Okay.
Mr. Ivy, excuse me, I can provide them with those numbers.
Okay,
Okay.
sure. And just switch that over, the 6910, like Jim said, is our irrigable acres. but-
Right.
Yeah, okay. Okay, Mike, where were you? Back on.
We're headed towards page 23. The independent auditor's report on internal control, that follows those notes to the financial statement. Second paragraph under the heading internal control over financial reporting. In planning and performing our audit of the financial statements, we considered the district's internal control over financial reporting to determine the audit procedures that are appropriate in the circumstances for the purpose of expressing our opinion on the financial statement. And we'll skip down there to the last paragraph. Our consideration of internal control was for the limited purpose described in the first paragraph of this section and was not designed to identify all deficiencies in internal control that might be material weaknesses or significant deficiencies. And those are just varying degrees of areas that might be a problem. Given these limitations during our audit, we did not identify any deficiencies in internal control that we consider to be material weaknesses. In other words, you're doing a great job.
Well, like you said, that's the sentence we're looking for.
Yeah, that's the meat of the matter, isn't it?
All right.
And we'd like to thank everybody, Mary, everybody that helps, provides information, makes things go a lot smoother.
I understand y'all have a good working relationship and it's working along. Okay, great. appreciate it.
Thank you all, we appreciate it.
All right, thank you for presenting that to us.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you all.
Thank you. All right. Johnny, do you have any questions of Mike before he leaves? He's about to go out the door here.
No, sounds good when you said you didn't find anything.
Yeah.
We need a motion.
Okay. We need a motion to accept the auditor's report.
So moved.
Second. Larry makes the motion. George seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed, same sign. Okay. Mary?
Thank you all.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike. All right, the floor is yours.
Well, this way. The first report is our monthly investment report. We do have a certificate of deposit. The next one to mature is in November. At that time, we will consider where we're at and whether we reinvest the funds or have to use them in the main account.
Okay.
Is there any questions on the monthly report?
Unless, no interest rate rises, still, they're still sitting there, aren't
They're still very low, yes,
Okay.
unfortunately. And I just checked today's rates on our treasury bill, and the 6-month rate is at 0.04%. The 1 year is at 0.06%.
they? 1 year, 0.06.
0.06, yes.
Okay. That's why we like to see CDs, it looks like.
Well, that's why you're wise to get short-term investments,
Yep.
because the market's changed.
All right. Larry, you wanna look at net revenue? Got any,
The next report is our balance sheet. Is there any questions? Mr.?
no,
Yes.
skip right over that, didn't I? Anybody have any questions? Larry?
Our next report's the net revenue. We can go over it if you have any questions. It is summarized on our budget for approval for 2021 and 2022. It's also stated.
Where did we get to the budget? Are we gonna look at that today?
Yes.
In just a minute?
Just a minute.
Okay. All right, in that case, I guess I'll wait and look at it. I don't have many. I have, let me ask you real quick. On the third-party implementing again, that's because we got that first jolt of money that's really
From
last year.
yes.
And it's, okay,
And then the two that have been invoiced.
right, because we're not gonna see that again, are we? No, in other words, that was that one-time deal when we moved our calendar year, right?
No, that was,
No, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
the one payment from last year was for water that was delivered last year.
Okay.
We have that end of the year invoice that affects this current year.
Okay,
And then,
It's a calendar year contract.
it's a calendar year.
Yeah, we're,
That's
our
what it is.
fiscal's in the way.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I just, every time I see it, it throws me off a little bit. And the other one was the drain maintenance. Now, what is that? In that quarterly payments from the city?
There is the regular drain maintenance, it's the quarterly payment, and that's also calendar year. And we also have any capital improvements on the drain.
Okay. Well, on that line 4252 on the drain maintenance, it shows we're quite a bit under what our estimated on the budget. Is there a payment coming? Where are we on that?
The reason for the shortage is we did have many of our crews from the maintenance department working on the grant projects at the beginning of the year. That went along to the month of June, from January to June. So the drains weren't worked on as much as we would like. But they are back on track.
When Mary talks, could you use the microphone?
Yes.
Screen.
Screen.
Green. I bought a good hairs anyway, after some get.
All right. Maybe you didn't hear that last bit there, Mary.
As I was stating, Mr. Stubbs, on the drain maintenance, we are behind on the projected revenue for this year. We had the grants that were a priority, and they went into the first quarter and part of the second quarter as well. But we are back on track and working on the drains for the third quarter.
Okay. I can hear you well now. Thank you.
Excuse me, hey Al, if you're the one letting people into the meeting, Renee's in the waiting room and has asked them to be let in.
There he is. At least I can see him. Okay. Renee, can you hear us?
Yep.
Okay. All right, Mary, that's all I had. I got any others I'll ask you on the budget there. Anybody else? Revenue? Okay.
Next report is our $500 check report. There is a correction on line 30 for Kent Smith. There were 2 items in Kent Smith for the same date of June 30th, 2021. But line item 30 is a correction on the date of July 31st, 2021.
Mike, George, Larry, see anything on that 500?
Yeah, on number 1211, that's a big price difference in it on that roundup. See it? From
Oh, I see that.
11 and 12?
11 and 12?
Yeah.
Yes, and keep in mind that our purchasing agent goes out on bid, and we have to do that, so sometimes he'll save us some money, yeah, depends on who gives us the best price for what we want to utilize.
Yeah, that roundup's getting up there, yeah.
I got a question on number 25, just educating a little bit on the fees for the collection of past due water dues, or what are we paying for this? What is a Rose question?
Yes. So this is for Lumber, Colgan, William Sampson, that's the law firm that handles our delinquent accounts.
Okay.
So the property owner on our delinquent accounts, there's a 15% collection fee. That is turned around and reimbursed to them. So they're the ones that are filing suit, the judgment, contacting the sheriff, citations,
Okay, I
and so
see, I
on.
see.
So the district doesn't pay for it.
That's the question I
Property
was
owner
gonna-
does.
In other words, they're charging us this, and they were only collecting this, then Okay, but it's part internal of the
Yes,
collection,
yeah, we
so.
collect-
And isn't it
Bring
the
it back to them.
statutory fixed amount?
Excuse me?
Isn't it fixed by statute?
Yes, sir. We can go up to 20%. We collect everything.
Good, okay,
Yes, sir.
thank you,
Yeah.
that is clear.
Come on, George, what you got?
The time that y'all haven't already talked about.
All right.
Just one, number 15, seal kit, is that an old excavator or is that a new excavator?
That'll be one of the Volvos. That was, one of the newer ones, but they're still kind of, up there in age already.
Does it fall under warranty or anything like that?
No. These are probably over 10 years old.
Oh, okay, so they're,
Yes.
they just need to be part of the maintenance, okay.
What is dripper oil that you got there on number 44?
For wheels,
Oh, is that what that's for?
Yes.
they lubricate the shafts on those turbines. Okey-doke. All right, Mary.
Next, we have the credit card report.
Okay.
You're going negative, Lisa, on continuing education.
Yes,
Look at smarter.
Any questions? Legal and consulting fee budget report? Big swallows there. But you know where we're at. Okay. Under tab D, Mary, what do you got there? Is that the? That's our budget, okay.
Our first page is just a summarization of what our current balances are and what we propose for our next fiscal year, the estimated revenues and budget. From what we have received and what we, and also I'd like to say that Mr. Reyes and myself as well had met with the executive committee, had gone over the budget prior. There were some recommendations and changes to be made, which Mr. Ivy can further explain if it needs to.
We, basically, the water delivery, help me out here, Dad, where'd we leave it? We left it where it was at,
At $10.
Yes, at $10.
at $10. The land assessment, we kept the same, and the
Accounting service charge.
county service charge, we did go up on that, but we left the water, and so that's less money coming into our coffers. But it's been a rough time farming. We're trying to help the farmers a little bit, so we felt it was probably not the right time to go up on stuff if we could. We had a little surplus. Of course, we don't want to continue this forever, but so our recommendation was that we left the water charge the same at $10. Is that right? Okay. And it basically lowers our budget by about 800,000, if I remember right. That sound right? So we're tightening our belts, everybody is. It's been hard on farmers, as you know. And, so we're trying to tighten our belts along with it, see if we can go. And we were fortunate to have a surplus at the moment. Right? Is that reflected right here already, or was this page?
No, it's reflected.
It's already been reflected, okay.
And we are increasing the accounting service charge rate from $12 to $20
Yeah, per account,
per account.
which is an administrative type of charge, which we hadn't gone up with that in a long, long time.
Excuse me, the accounting service charge not per account, it's per owner.
Yeah.
Per owner.
Is it per owner or per every account the
It's
owner's
per
got?
owner.
It's per owner.
Per owner,
Yes.
okay.
Right, everything.
And then from administration, I want the rest of the board members, the executive committee knows, but I think the other 3 board members need to know that we will not, we've tightened our belts completely on capital purchases, and we have passed on any, buying any new equipment for this coming year. We feel that we're in pretty good shape truck-wise and equipment-wise, and so at this point, we decided not to seek any funds at all for capital.
Right, our capital projects for our concrete line stuff are gonna go on. We already have that money set aside, and we're looking for grants, right?
That's correct, and I'll be giving a report on that under my section.
Okay. So Mary, where do you wanna go?
We can continue along with the remaining reports, which is the revenue and the expenses.
Okay. It's about page number 3 of your packet there, if you go.
Yes.
See what the plan is right now.
The proposed budget for the year, it would be at $7,400,600. A decrease of $1,492,830 from the current year.
Sorry, can you repeat that, Mayor?
Our proposed budget compared to the budget for the current year, there is going to be a decrease of $1,492,830.
Okay, that's on column 4.
Column 4. I have a question here. I'm looking at the auditor's reports for 2019, and I'm gonna pick on licensing, only because we can control that to some extent. In 2019, there was $3 million of revenue, and then in 2020, it went down to 1.2, and then now we have a budget of 1.6. I'm trying to get a handle of what the trend is, what caused the urbanization, what is it, and what we can expect going forward, because that's, to me, licensing is something that somewhat is controllable, only to the extent that people are coming in and building and developing. Maybe, I don't know if that's an Al question, or, but somebody can answer that for me.
Well, could I
Go ahead.
point out, your licensing fees are individually set. You don't have a schedule of licensing fees so that it applies to every applicant for a license. You consider each one according to its needs. And of course, the district is statutorily established solely for irrigation. It's not for parks, it's not for any other collateral reason other than irrigation.
So the irregularity, which you've seen before, for example, when we had Comanche, we had one year where we had a payment of $5 million into that category.
But it was
That
five
was,
nine,
yeah, thanks to Mr. Spear, it was $5 million. The prediction of that's impossible on those
Okay.
type of things.
That's like an isolated case, I mean.
No, we had numerous cases where we got large fees. For example, the one that you're talking about is the same situation. That was a litigation, but this one was, I think the city of Socorro, we've been working with for 10 years to have their payments on their use of the roads.
Actually, the city of Socorro, we signed an agreement, and they've already met their 3rd payment. The ones that are going to contribute or start is the county of El Paso.
Yeah, we're talking, so he's talking about the audit, so we're going back to the audit time. The WIPE was $3 million, which was, so for example, that's one of the ones, he just talked to payments would be reflected in the audit as the previous year.
Okay.
And so that was something we had worked on for 10 years, and it finally came to fruition. It's still at the negotiated rates, like Jim said, when everything comes in front of the board. So we can't predict those exactly when they'll pay out, and we work scheduling, because it's a lot of money. We work with the applicant to make sure that they can distribute that, what's reasonable to their budget too. So for example, I think that was that way. The stuff that we did with the county was the same way, it was a payment schedule. Some of those, they'll cover 25 and 50-year periods. So once those payment things, and Perry could work up a whole schedule of these, once those go away, then you won't see them again. We'll be back to what we consider routine. And I think for now, a lot of those payments have gone away this year in your budget, right? We're on more of a routine schedule.
Yes.
And all the big capital. And so the 1.6 is probably what we have control over, what we were talking about. The rest of the stuff is just has to do with sequencing and long-term negotiations. So I'm sure you want to add anything to that.
Right. Yeah, and the only one we have pending right now is the county of El Paso will start with their first payment November 1st
Okay.
of 500,000.
So that'll be
And
good.
it's divided, I made an agreement with them of dividing it into 3 payments for the crossings.
So we'll get that, that'll be for the next 3 years, starting this year. We'll see that. Is that, I assume that's part of the 1.6, right?
And then 1.6 is a realistic
Yes,
goal.
it is.
Basically, that's based on,
I mean, it's, you know, it's hard to predict. I mean, obviously, if what's in front of you today, and we gave you a separate license use fee, was the boom and aerial crossings for fiber optic. And there's a big, I mean, we haven't seen this level of activity ever before.
well, I like what you guys did, I appreciate it. It's a great understanding of
Yeah.
the revenue that's coming in.
And my understanding is that, and Bert and Sharon can speak to this better than me, that there's at least maybe 4 or 5 times this amount will be pending. This is 19 crossings, I believe,
Yeah.
20.
But what we required is to, how many more we can anticipate getting into here.
Mhm.
It's continuing to grow, so we're really trying to cover the valley with fiber optic for the web services.
For the growth, and I've always felt that part of the water, the delivery that we're doing, as well as where it's kind of like a 2-step process where you have urbanization, and that's another revenue stream that, in my opinion, to some extent I know it's small, but it's gonna become more of a, I guess, the increasing revenue to the district, because as we've seen all over the country, the market, there is no lots, there are no land. People are trying to build houses and they don't have any inventory, and they're going wherever there's land, and it seems like it's coming this way, and we're getting a little bit of that impact. I don't know what you see, Bert, but that's kind of like what I've been seeing for a while now, but.
Yes, it has been moving in this direction, and like you were saying, wherever land's available and wherever developers see that there's a profit to be made, that's where they're gonna go.
And we're ready to receive it as it comes.
So,
All right. Thank you.
Is there any way that you can get where the people speaking, going to a speaker or something? I hear nothing except when Mary talks now.
Yep.
Mary's the hardest one in the room to hear.
So you have to pass the.
Okay, we'll have to pass the microphone.
Move it back to our.
Put it up on top there, maybe that'll work.
Oh, no, I guess not.
Maybe
Thanks,
that'll
a little
work.
too far.
Can you hear us, Johnny?
And, kind of, sort of, this telephone deal doesn't work here like the Zoom deal does.
Move it just a little bit. We'll find a happy medium.
Everybody would have to have a microphone.
Maybe we'll find a happy medium like right over here. There you go. Now, Mary, we'll see if we can hear you.
We're almost done on Mark's part.
You have to have a whole PA system.
We're almost done with Mary's part. Did you hear Mary say that, Johnny?
I heard Mary say something.
Mary has to walk up and talk to the board.
That's not on Mary or the microphone's fault, all that's my ears.
All right. Well, let's see, I think, any other questions on our budget? Now, do we need some sort of, we don't need a,
Yes,
we need
yes, we do.
we need approval for that budget?
Yes.
Okay. I won't go too quick if somebody's got some more questions. Anybody have any more questions? You see everything down there. We're obviously tightening our belts. We're not gonna have, the reserves that we had, but this is probably a good time to do it. When the time is up, that's what you got your reserves for anyway, so. Everybody happy? I'll entertain a motion to approve the budget as presented.
So moved.
All right, Larry makes the motion.
Second.
George seconds the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, same sign.
Johnny, aye.
Aye, okay. All right. Rose, it's time for Rose. Let's see if you can hear Rose, Johnny.
Good morning, Mr. Stubbs.
Why
You
don't
gotta move it over there
why
now.
don't you move up,
Yeah,
move up to the speaker if you can? So
yeah, just move
that way you
over
can
there.
hear everybody.
Oh, no, no.
Want me to move this over here?
We need to,
Do you want? Closer, I don't know.
Try right there.
Mr. Stubbs, can you hear me?
That's good.
Yes.
Okay. Good morning.
Marty,
We have no tax adjustments.
hey,
Our next report is the El Paso Public Service Board, the Lower Valley Water District assignments, and we have tax suits. And just to let you know, Lower Valley sending us about 200 contracts, probably by the end of the month.
wow, okay.
Do you have any questions on the report?
Rose, I have just one question on the Lower Valley, just to remind me, because I forgot. If you look at the March 1, we actually got some charges collected on there.
What happened there was Lower Valley Water District stops accepting leases at the end of October. So they forgot to submit it to us. So they just felt obligated, they need to pay the taxes to the property owner.
Okay.
So what they're doing, they didn't complete them,
Um,
but they're still not paying taxes. They're not paying taxes.
Okay, so that's a charge collected, in other words, it wasn't a delinquent tax, it was just an extra charge that they,
Well, like what we do with the Public Service Board, they not only compensate, but they also pay the delinquent taxes. Lower Valley pays compensation, but not the delinquent taxes. So in this case, Lower Valley dropped the ball, they didn't submit them in time, so
okay.
they were obligated to pay those taxes.
Okay, and we always declare that when we talk about the public service board, we mean the city of El Paso.
City of El Paso, El Paso
The
Public
public service
Service
board
Board.
is just a department of the city, is all it is.
Okey-doke.
Do you have any questions? Our next report is on the comparison, collections between tax year 2019 and 2020. 2019, we were at 98.2446%. Right now, we're at 96.8521. So we are trailing. Do you have any questions on that report? We have reached out to those long-term delinquent accounts. One is we did contact Wells Fargo, and they sent us a list of 1,600 accounts, and we identified properties that they have a lien, or they're holding a lien on the title. And there was about $9,000, and we received a payment for about $2,600 just recently.
Wow,
So we're working with them very closely.
okay, that's great. All right. Well,
And that's it for me.
Thank you, Rose, I appreciate it. Thanks for keeping tabs on all that.
Thank you.
Doing a good job. All right, let's see here. Chewy.
Okay. Guess I'll go up front there so Johnny can hear me. Okay, under item 7A, you all had approved us seeking a grant application with the Bureau, through the Bureau of Reclamation. We just need a resolution from you all approving this so we can send it in with our application.
Okay, is that the resolution behind tab A?
Yes, that'll be for improvements to the Riverside Regulating Reservoir.
In the
So moved,
building 1.5. All right, Mike makes a
as
motion.
recommended by administration.
All right, Mike makes a motion. Do I hear a second?
So moved.
Larry seconds that. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Got that?
Johnny, aye.
Okay. First one down.
It says that-
Make sure you've got a list of them.
Okay. Item B, we had filed an application for grant money also for a small solid waste shredding machine, but TCEQ didn't approve us submitting for this shredding machine because they say it'll all that stuff that we'll shred will wind up at the dump, and they were against it. So we've changed our application. In talking to Pete, we're applying, if you all approve it, for a small solid waste dump trailer that we could utilize to pick up tires or waste along the canals and so on, and be able to haul it with one of our smaller trucks.
So not a shredding machine, a solid waste dump.
Trailer, yes.
Wasn't that shredding